Hello everyone. In this video, we'll go over the Vocabulary Workshop Level Blue Unit 4 words. You can follow along at home using your book. Let's get started. Our first word is aggressive. Aggressive is an adjective and it means quick to fight or quarrel, tending to violence, bold and forceful, determined. So someone is aggressive if they act in a way that is ready to fight or argue. But it can also mean that they are very determined and push hard to get what they want, like someone who doesn't give up easily. The example sentence says, "An aggressive salesperson never gives up." So that's similar to what's happening in this picture here. There is a salesperson that is trying really hard to sell something to this person, and that salesperson is not giving up. So we can say that they are being a little bit aggressive. I can also use this word to make a sentence like, video games might make children aggressive. So imagine someone who loses a video game and they start yelling or screaming or throwing things because they're upset or they want to fight. That kind of behavior can be called aggressive. I could also call a dog who is kind of howling or barking or growling at someone aggressive. I could say, the dog became aggressive when it felt scared. And similar to the salesperson, we can use the word to talk about someone who's working hard. So I can say, the team played an aggressive game and didn't give up. So they played in a very strong and determined way. They never gave up even if they were losing the game. So this word aggressive can be used in both of these ways. Our next word can be pronounced in two different ways, depending on whether it is a verb or a noun and an adjective. When we use this word as a verb, it's pronounced as associate, associate. However, when we use it as a noun or an adjective, we pronounce it as associate, associate. As a verb, this word means to join or be together as partners, allies, or friends. To link in one's mind, connect. For example, I will always associate peaches with summer. So this example sentence is talking about this second definition here, where you are connecting one thing with another thing. So when I see peaches, then I think about summer. Maybe because that's the time that peaches grow, so I connect those two things, peaches and summer, together. I associate them together. Another example of that could be, I associate the smell of cookies with my grandma's house. So whenever you smell cookies, it reminds you about your grandma's house. Maybe because your grandma liked to bake a lot of cookies, so her house always smelled like cookies. That is connecting those two things, cookies, the smell of cookies, and your grandma's house together. The other way we can use associate as a verb is to talk about being together with friends or allies. So I could say something like, she likes to associate with kind and friendly people. She likes to be friends or join together with people who are kind. So we can also use this word associate to mean the people that you talk with or the people that you spend time with. Moving on to the noun definition, an associate is a partner or friend. Most often we use it as a partner, someone who works together with you. The example sentence says, the businessman introduced his associate. So the associate can be like a coworker, someone who works in the same building, or just someone who is closely working together with you. So I could make a sentence like, my dad works with a trusted associate. It can also be used to mean friend, like I could say he is an associate of mine, but more commonly it will be a partner or coworker. And as an adjective, associate means having less than full rank. So the example sentence says, she was hired as an associate professor in the science department. So in a school, just like in this example, at the very top, there might be the top teachers who are professors. Then underneath them are associate professors. They're not the very top rank yet. They're a little bit lower than the top. So we can also use this word associate in that way to describe someone who is not all the way at the top, but kind of lower or maybe in the middle. The next word is deceive. Deceive is a verb and it means to trick or lead a person into believing something that is not true. For example, it is wrong to deceive the customer with false advertising. So when you deceive someone, you trick them into believing that something is true when it's not actually true. It means that you are not being honest on purpose. For example, if you see a picture of a hamburger like this, but the hamburger that you're actually getting looks like this one, you can say that you were deceived. This would be an example of an advertisement that deceives people because everyone believes they will get one thing when they actually get another thing. Or I could also say, he tried to deceive his parents by hiding his test and saying that they didn't do the test today. So he's trying to trick or lie to his parents. He's trying to make them believe something that's not true. I could also say he deceived his family by pretending that he was sick. So he pretended like he was very sick. Maybe he couldn't go to school because he was too sick, when in reality he was completely fine and he was just lying. So we can use this word deceive to explain that action of someone lying. Our next word is emigrate. Emigrate is a verb and it means to leave one's home country or area to live in another. For example, Henry hopes to immigrate from Haiti to the United States. When you emigrate, you leave your home country to go live in a different country. It's usually a very big decision because you are starting a new life somewhere else. And there is another word, immigrate, that is a little bit similar to emigrate. But there is one major difference between these two words. So for emigrate, it's very focused on the place that you are leaving. It's talking about to leave your country to live in another. For example, I can say she decided to emigrate from India to Canada. And when we use the word emigrate, we're trying to focus on India here, on leaving India. But if I use the word immigrate, now the meaning or the focus is on entering a new country to live there. So I can say he plans to immigrate to Canada next year. As you can see here, the focus is on Canada, on going to Canada or entering Canada instead of leaving India. So that's the main difference between these two words. So when we want to use emigrate, we're really focusing on that country or that place that we are leaving. I could make some sentences using this word. For example, my neighbor decided to emigrate from Korea to Canada for a new job. Or they saved money for years before they could emigrate. And his grandparents emigrated and built a new life in another country. Our next word is flexible. Flexible is an adjective and it means able to bend without breaking, able to change or to take in new ideas. For example, I brought in a box of flexible straws. So flexible straws, of course, look like this, and we can bend these straws very easily without the straws breaking. So anything that can bend without breaking can be described as being flexible. Not only items, but also people can be described as being flexible. I can say the gymnast is very flexible and can bend her body easily. And we can also use this word to mean that someone can change quickly or maybe accept new ideas without a lot of difficulty. So I could say that this woman has a very flexible schedule. Even though she has something to do on a day, she might be able to easily change that thing to a different time or a different day. Compared to people that are not flexible, they might not be able to change their schedule when they have something that they need to do. So we can also use flexible in this way to describe someone that can easily change their plans or change their schedule. Our next word is glamour. Glamour is a noun, and glamour means mysterious charm, beauty, or attractiveness. For example, the movie captures the glamour of Paris. Glamour is a kind of beauty that feels exciting, fancy, or maybe even a little magical. It often makes something seem more special or more attractive or beautiful than usual. So this sentence says that there is a movie. Maybe the movie is set in the city of Paris. And that movie makes Paris look like it has a lot of glamour, like it's very beautiful, maybe more beautiful than usual, or very mysterious or attractive. So that is what glamour means. Something can have glamour since we're using it as a noun. Another example could be, she used bold colors to create a look full of glamour. Here, her makeup colors make her look like she has a lot of glamour, a lot of beauty, or a lot of attractiveness. I could also say, the hotel is full of glamour and luxury. Maybe it looks very beautiful or maybe even a little bit mysterious. One important point for glamour is that when something has glamour, it makes people want to go there or maybe to see it or appreciate it. People are attracted to things with glamour. Our next word is hazy. Hazy is an adjective, and when something is hazy, it is unclear, misty, not readily seen or understandable. So it's something that's not clear, and it might be hard to see because of some mist or heat, or maybe it's just something that is hard to understand or remember for a person. For example, another hot and hazy day is forecast. So since hazy means a little bit misty, we can understand here that the day is going to be very hot and maybe a little bit misty. So things that are far away might be difficult to see. I can say here, the mountains looked hazy through the heat in the afternoon. In this picture, you can see here especially, the mountains are a little bit unclear and hard to see because of the sunlight. So we can describe this as hazy. Another good example could be this window here. I can say that this window looked hazy. It's not able to clearly be seen through this window. Maybe there's some kind of mist on it, and then after we clean the window, then it becomes clear. So it can just be something that is a little bit dirty, and we can use the word hazy to explain that we can't see it clearly. And I can also use this word hazy to talk about someone's memory. I could say something like, I have a hazy memory of my first day of school. Maybe the first day of school was a really long time ago and I can't remember it very well, so I can say that that memory is hazy. The next word is linger. Linger is a verb, and linger means to stay longer than expected. Be slow in leaving, to go slowly or take one's time. For example, we like to linger over breakfast on Saturdays. So when you linger, you are just staying longer than expected, or you are taking your time instead of leaving quickly. So here the example sentence is saying that maybe a family on a Saturday morning when they're eating breakfast, instead of everyone having to quickly leave because they're going to school or they're going to work, they can stay a little bit longer than expected. So they are lingering, or they linger over breakfast. We often see this word linger used together with the word over. People linger over something. Another example could be here. The children are lingering on the playground even though it's time to go back to class. So maybe the bell rang and everyone has to go back to their classroom, but the children don't want to go. They want to stay longer. So we can say the students lingered. And the second way that we use this word is to mean that something kind of continues to remain or hang around. Not exactly people, but it can be things like a smell or even a feeling. So I can say something like, the smell of cookies lingered in the kitchen all day. So usually when we bake cookies, it smells very strong and sweet for a long time. Since that smell is staying there and not going away, we can say the smell lingers. And feeling can also linger. Imagine that this team won a very important game, and then that feeling of excitement lingered after the game. Everyone continued to be very happy and excited all day because of winning the game. So anytime that a person stays too long or something remains longer than you expect, you can use this word linger to explain that action. Our next word is luxurious. Luxurious is an adjective and it means providing ease and comfort far beyond what is ordinary or necessary. The example says they took a luxurious vacation. So for luxurious, we're trying to explain that something is very comfortable or fancy, and it's always more than what you really need or more than what you expect there will be. So a luxurious vacation, for example, might be a vacation that is in a private room with its own pool right next to the ocean. It's more than what people usually get or expect for their vacation. Something that is a luxury is usually also a little bit expensive compared to what you would normally get. I could also say here, the car had luxurious seats made of leather. As you can see in the picture, these seats are not just normal seats. They also have footrests and even some comfortable pillows here. So they are luxurious seats. Here too, I can say the spa offered a calm and luxurious experience. It's very comfortable and makes you feel calm and at ease. And more importantly, it is usually something that is expensive or very expensive. Our next word is mishap. Mishap is a noun, and a mishap is an unfortunate but minor accident. So it's something that you wish didn't happen, but it's not that big of a deal. It's just a little accident. For example, the waiters chuckled over the mishap. So imagine that you are in a restaurant and the waiter accidentally brings you the wrong dish. Maybe this dish is for the people in the table next to you. So, of course, it's an unfortunate mistake, but it's not a huge problem and it can be easily fixed, or you can just move on and it's not a big deal. So, that is a mishap. It's not supposed to happen, but it's not serious. Maybe just a little embarrassing or a little bit inconvenient. Another example could be imagine during a play like this, let's say that the character has to change their costume very quickly for a very important part in the play. Imagine that she's supposed to get the costume pulled off, but it actually doesn't go all the way off. That could be considered a small mishap. It's an accident that wasn't meant to happen, but it's not a big deal. Similarly, you could say that we had a small travel mishap when we left a bag in the car. So imagine you're going on a vacation or a trip and you accidentally leave your bag in the car. Of course, it's very unfortunate, but it's not a huge problem. The same thing here. Imagine if you accidentally spill some water on your shirt when you're drinking. So, of course, it's awful that your shirt is now wet and looks like this, but it's not a big deal because it will eventually become dry. So we can describe that as a mishap. Our next word is overwhelm. Overwhelm is a verb, and when someone is overwhelmed, it means to overcome by superior force, crush, to affect so deeply as to make helpless. So something that overwhelms someone is too strong for them. They can't handle it easy. It can also mean using a great force or power to defeat something. Or it can mean making someone feel so much emotion or stress that they don't know what to do. The example here says, fresh troops threatened to overwhelm the weakened defenders. This sentence is a little bit confusing, but imagine that there is a war going on between two different countries. And this first country got a lot more people to join the war or the fight or the battle. Suddenly, this other country might feel overwhelmed. They might feel like they can't handle it anymore because there's too many people on this side now. So that's how we can use the word overwhelm to mean that something, some force is too strong for something else. Another good example of that is this here. You can see that there is this small boat in the ocean, but the waves are really big. So I could say the strong waves almost overwhelmed the small boat. They almost took it over or destroyed this boat. I could also say too much work at once can overwhelm a person. If a person has too much to do, they might feel very stressed and like they can't do anything at all. And the other way we often use this word, again, is to talk about someone's emotions suddenly becoming very strong. So I can say, her kindness overwhelmed the old woman and she started to cry. Maybe this old woman felt very thankful or grateful that the little girl protected her from the rain with the umbrella. And she felt so thankful that her emotions or her feelings overwhelmed her. She couldn't control them anymore, so she started to cry. Our final word is span. Span can be used as a noun and as a verb. As a noun, span is the full reach or length, especially between 2 points in space or time. For example, the span of most insects' lives is very brief. So a span is how long something lasts or how long something is. It's to stretch across from one side to the other. This example here is talking about how long something lives, like insects. So here I can say the span of a mosquito's life is about 45 days. That would be about the full length of how long they live. Or the span of the life of a butterfly is about 2 weeks. So that's how long or the full length that they live. So we can use this word in this way to talk about how something lives. Or again, we can use it to talk about the length of something. So I can say the bridge has a long span across the river. It has a very long length across the river or the bay or whatever body of water it is over. And as a verb, it is to stretch or reach across. For example, a new bridge will be built to span the Golden Gate, which is the opening of San Francisco Bay. So this definition is now using it as an action. It is a verb. When we say something spans, it means it reaches all the way across from one side to the other. So we're not talking about its actual length. We're talking about it can reach from one point to the other point. And that's all for this video. We went over the Vocabulary Workshop Level Blue Unit 4 words. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye!